There was this one day we're filming with him. He loves celery juice. He goes to Costco just to buy celery to make celery juice. He made $179,000 in the hour of us filming at Costco. I'm sitting there as this broke documentary filmmaker filming him. Like, what is wrong with this picture?
I just became a millionaire by spending all my money on Dogecoin.
Hey, welcome back to the Bullish Studio Podcast. Today, I am joined by Chris Temple, director of an upcoming film called This Is Not Financial Advice, which follows 4 financial influencers through their journey of what it's like to begin investing using advice from social media. Chris, thank you for joining us. You want to give us a little bit of a background on yourself and this film you've been working on?
Yeah, so we have a new feature documentary called This Is Not Financial Advice that's premiering this week at Tribeca. The film is really this cautionary tale, a look at speculative crypto investing. So it follows 4 different investors over the last 2.5 years, kind of through the rise and fall journey of what it's been like, the roller coaster ride of being an investor in today's modern age.
I could cash out right now and just, go about my life. But I would feel like I'm letting everybody down. Fuck.
What started this whole journey into...
Oh, man. Okay, so go back in time, right? It's early 2021. Everything's going up. It seems like every stock, every crypto, every group text is about some other friend of yours who made $100,000 doing something stupid. So it was creating this collective sense of FOMO. And for us, that's really why we jumped into this. It was like, okay, let's follow a few people who are making these really big risky bets at this time, and let's see what happens. Let's see how this plays out. And for myself, I actually got super caught up in this world. I was buying Doge, I was buying GameStop,
Nice.
and for me, actually, the process of the last 2.5 years was very cathartic to understand my own relationship to money and my own relationship to FOMO, and to maybe not bet it all on.
Shit's real.
It's
Shit is
so
very
tempting.
real. Yeah.
And social media is making it worse. I mean, when you see a story of some idiot, just to be blunt, like making millions of dollars doing what seems like nothing, it can really make you frustrated.
Totally.
Yeah.
I actually saw this morning that one of the subjects of the film, Pro the Dogecoin Millionaire, was talking about how he turned $10 into $10,000 on some random meme coin. So you want to talk a little bit about how you met Pro and some of the other subjects in the doc?
Yeah, so I was just in these Reddit communities on Twitter, and so I saw a tweet that Pro put out about he maxed out his credit cards, he took out cash advances, he borrowed all the money, this money from friends, sold all his stocks, and he put it all into Dogecoin, his whole life savings. And he's a Brazilian immigrant living in a 180 square foot apartment. 69 days later, he turns it into $1 million. And then refuses to sell it to cash. And so I won't ruin the film, but it just, the film charts this journey over a couple years as he runs this up with 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, still like refusing to sell it. As a filmmaker, I just want to shake him, right? But I can't tell him to sell behind the camera. And
Because Dogecoin is the future, Mom.
Oh, but you need right now.
eventually then it starts to go down, and it goes from 3 million to 2 million, but then he doesn't want to sell because it used to be 3. So now he doesn't want to leave money on the table. And then eventually it sort of drops all the way back down. And, met him on Twitter, and we had a Zoom call and started filming the next day.
Wow. That was quick, huh? Talk about some of the other subjects in the film.
Yeah. So kind of the foil character, I'd say, to Pro is this, this investor who has 3 investing principles. Slow, boring, and don't be emotionally tied to your money. So slow, boring, not emotional. And he runs a local stock club in Long Beach to teach, the local immigrant community about investing, and kind of trying to lift up his community through money, which is the whole sort of double-edged sword of this film. Is the democratization of money is so awesome, right? We've got millions of new people who have access to money now, access to investing, can sort of take control of their finances, whereas in the past it used to only be, rich people who had $5 million bucks. But with that has come this risk of, people can blow themselves up in 5 minutes on a phone app and YOLO their life savings. There's a ton of scams out there. And then social media just makes it really, really difficult to find and navigate what is good financial advice. So to me, until we figure out how to improve financial education to go along with the access, we may be a little fucked.
It's wild when you hear, years ago, the first thing that somebody used to, invest in was a stock, and now it's turning into a crypto, and then it's going into a game that they play, and then all of a sudden they get coins from the game, and it's like the on-ramp into investing is changing dramatically, and I think This film, I think, is also showing a little bit of that too, of, how different, a few different people enter the financial world.
So, we wanted to we have four main characters of the film to sort of give, again, money is so personal. There's no one size fits all strategy. So we wanted to give you a few different tastes of how different people are managing their money from different walks of life. So you got Pro and Sinai. We also have a dad in rural Indiana who's got 3 kids and is dealing with very different financial situations than others. He decides to make really big financial bets himself and actually ends up selling his house and putting it all into a crypto coin and moving into a storage unit instead of his home. And his wife ends up leaving him over the decision and going through this. And so, everybody has such different risk tolerances in what you go through. And then the fourth and final character is this amazing girl named Kayla. She runs a Instagram and TikTok channel called Girls Talk Stocks. And she really wants to try to bring in especially women into what can be often a very bro-y culture around crypto and investing. And how do you take some of these exclusionary terms and help people get onboarded into it?
That's awesome. That's great. So I guess for you personally, what have you learned? Are you managing your money differently now, or what have you experienced yourself through this?
I mean, to me, when I look back, I think of the film so much about the psychology of money. And I think there's this book by Morgan Housel called The Psychology of Money that everyone needs to read if you haven't read it before. It's incredible. But it just helps you understand and think about all of these psychological triggers you run into around greed and fear along the process of when you're making money. And I think for me, have been able to recognize those now, having gone through the process of the last few years, and just pause instead of reacting and thinking emotionally about money. And the more you can separate your emotions from money, the better financial decisions you'll make.
That's it.
This is not financial.
Exactly.
So,
how'd you land on the name? Epic name. I mean,
this is not financial advice. Obviously, it's a huge term in the community, and people are always using it. And I think when it really clicked for me was there's sort of a turn in the third act of the film, the very end of the film, where after Pro loses his $3 million, he had, through the process, built up this massive community of hundreds of thousands of followers. And because of that, he became a brand, right? And people were asking him for financial advice. He became this crypto influencer. And then money started pouring in. So from different coins and others, they were paying him, and they still are paying him to talk about crypto and to talk about what's happening, pump different coins, to be honest.
Yeah.
And so I think, when you're looking at financial advice online, there's such a spectrum of what is good financial advice, what is sponsored financial advice, and then what is a scam. And I think helping people understand that spectrum will make all of us better investors. So it was a great play on words, and I thought it was just really funny.
That. I feel like I hear just that thrown around the internet. Not financial advice, but you should buy this thing. And it's like, well, that's all right. Like, what? Who are you? What are you telling me? But it's
so technically it's a legal discllaimer, right?
Right.
You're like, this is not financial advice, but buy Dogecoin.
Right.
And you're like, okay, but I'm not sure that actually holds up in court. And we're and we've seen it from a legal standpoint of like a lot of celebrities have been getting
Kim
indicted
Kardashian, tons of them
around the promotion of crypto coins. And then there was an article just last week that actually now just using emojis can be seen as an endorsement of different crypto. And so you got to be even careful of what you're doing on that. And so, again, it's a balance, but I think it's just a funny conversation to think about, what is financial advice in a world where it's so personal.
Totally. Yeah. And also it's kind of this like mystery thing, like where can you actually get financial advice from? And that's where I think you see a lot of young people just looking at their TikTok and their Twitter feeds, and they're just, oh, he's like me, I want to go and follow him. And
there was some research done this year over the last couple of years of people under the age of 25. And it was 79% got most of their financial information from TikTok and YouTube. So that's the platform. That's like the first touch point where people are getting access. And now where do we go from there? Like, it's great. That can be a starting point. It can get people interested, but then they need to understand how to navigate that landscape and then hopefully get more resources beyond it. So,
and talk a little bit about that education component, because I know Optimist has a long history of doing a lot of impact-driven films. Can you talk a little bit about, some of the other work you've done and what you're aiming to do with this film?
Yeah, for sure. So, this film's a little bit of a departure for us in the past, where we've made films about all sorts of social issues, right, around the Syrian refugee crisis, immigration, criminal justice, food insecurity, and around each film, we build out these education campaigns to bring the films to teachers. So for this one, we are hoping to take the film, cut it up into all these different learning modules, and bring it out to 3 million students and 15,000 teachers to do teacher trainings, where 22% of high school kids graduate having taken a personal finance class. You're like, why are we teaching calculus when you could teach personal finance and just help people understand the basics? Where it took me until I was 31 to realize I needed to invest my Roth IRA. I just put it in. I didn't realize I needed to do anything else with it. Why didn't anyone show me that? I lost 10 years of investment opportunity.
Yeah, and then you also have teachers too, which might not even know how to teach it, because they're all on fixed incomes and they have their pensions and they're just, they're not, they don't know how to manage their money. And I think this sounds like it's going to be a great resource for tons of students and teachers to help improve financial literacy.
We're working with a couple amazing nonprofits on it. There's one called Next Gen Personal Finance, Financial Beginnings, and then also Investopedia just launched a really big arm around financial education and figuring out how do we create financial education for all, but especially focused in on marginalized communities, where most of the people, when you look at crypto right now, the majority of people who are losing money on crypto are from Black and brown communities that are marginalized. And you realize this can be in many circumstances really predatory.
So the film, when can people see it? What are the future plans?
So right now we're working on selling the film. We've just been so psyched. We got the 3 sold out screenings here at Tribeca. That's kind of the kickoff and launch. You get all the reviews of the film. We've got some really great quotes that have been coming out about it, and conversations with distributors. So to me, the dream is to get it up globally on a streamer. I think this film should be seen all over the world. It's a timeless story that, I think anyone in any country would benefit from.
Amazing. Where can people find more information about the film, Where should they
go? Social media is great. Come to our Instagram handles are Tinfa Film. This is not financial advice film. And my name's Chris Temple, just at Chris Temple on socials. And we'll be putting out a bunch of, kind of sneak peek clips. And I think from here, now that it's the world premiere, we'll be releasing soon.
I love it. Can't wait. Chris, thank you very much for taking the time to join us here at the Bullish Studio Podcast. And check out This Is Not Investment Advice. And Financial advice. And please I keep fucking that up because there's another fucking podcast. Thank you for coming to the Bullish Studio Podcast, Chris. And please check out This Is Not Financial Advice hopefully on a screen near you soon, globally.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chris, for coming.